Aenig by Caitlin Louw. Chapter 31. Rounding up the troops had taken longer than expected. Actually, that wasn't true. While they were all eager to be summoned, personalities being what they were, the explanation of why they had been met with far less anticipation. Accusations flew from those who had stayed out of it until then, and Yana looked just about ready to start a mutiny. So the Memphs are actually organized? The woman scowled, though she seemed to be holding on to her composure by the skin of her teeth. That would actually explain nothing? Not nothing, Damien reprimanded. He rubbed his fingers to his temples, where a headache had formed not too long ago. It had been difficult to get the small team to calm the hell down. It had taken a good half an hour for them to all have a picture of the problem, since they refused to stop interrupting one another. You're right that it doesn't explain everything, but it does explain more than a few things we've been hazy on, or at least suspected. Hey, Maish interrupted, raising his hand like a child. If the big ones are Memphs that eat other Memphs, does that make them Memphemphs? Maish! Yana warned her boyfriend with a deceptively hard punch to the man's shoulder. This is not the time. It was just a question, he smiled sheepishly, in that sorry, not sorry way he had, that simply frustrated her more. God, was he really that stupid, or did he know he was adorable? She honestly couldn't tell. It was a stupid question, she grumbled, wagging a finger at him. And put those puppy eyes away. We have a serious problem here. How about you just call them guardians? The little Memph boy offered up from his spot under Damien's suspicious gaze. That's all they really do. Guard things. But that's so generic, Maish whined, and flailed his arms like a disappointed toddler. Maybe generic is what we need, Damien hummed, folding his arms over his chest authoritatively. I know the city wasn't particularly built for a full-scale attack, but we've never encountered Memphs in particularly large groups before. Even after the outbreak, after the initial fallout, they were manageable. His cool tone momentarily calmed the scouts until he turned to Max and asked, How many are there in your hive? Mine has about 100, but we were forced into our territory by bigger ones, he said sadly, as though he hadn't just practically told them they were all most likely going to die. You have a territory? Maish asked, the first to find his voice after such a revelation. That is so not the question you should be asking right now, Silas scolded his mentor dryly. He was taking the news of their imminent demise a lot better than the others. Maybe he had too much contact with Cale or Max down in the lab. No, Max answered irritatedly. The kid had been eyeing the door ever since the thing had closed, like he was eager to be anywhere else. It's her territory. We just live in it under her protection. Oh, for heaven's sakes, Maish whined. It's a wonder our species ever reached the top of the food chain. Shut up, Yana deadpanned. Well, it's true, the Cape Tonian insisted. I mean, 6 years and we're only just now realizing this? Darwin was wrong. We obviously have no right to still be breathing. Well, it's not like anyone in this city used to be an anthropologist before the outbreak, she threw back at him. Hey! Damien bellowed. The two scouts shut up instantly. We don't need any infighting right now. We need solutions. Since we're going off the bee analogy, Yana spoke up. If the Queen is anywhere as intelligent as Max has made her out to be, maybe we could persuade her to let us leave the territory without a fight. It was a good idea, even if it was a surprise to have come from the spitfire of a woman. Max shot down the idea instantly. No, she's pissed. You killed one of her favorite guardians and you took her personal plaything hostage. She doesn't exactly like to share. Give you back, Yana shrugged nonchalantly, and toss Cale in as a bonus to sweeten the deal. You're not helping, the commander hissed. The woman gestured to Max. He's the one she wants, and Cale is the one who killed her pet. Damien seemed ready to protest, but Silas cut it off by turning to Max. 2 for the price of hundreds, he hummed, clearly convinced that Yana's plan was probably the best, though there was still more they needed to know. Do you know what her plan of attack is? He asked casually. Max shook his head. It doesn't work like that. She can see through me, but I only get feelings from her, he explained. Kind of like her feelings are so strong they become my own. Hunt, come here, don't go there, be careful of this. Things like that. The room was so silent, one could hear the sounds of the animals down on farming. What do you mean she can see through you? Maish asked slowly, clearly trying to keep his own emotions in check. The Queen doesn't leave the burrow all that often, Max explained shakily, having felt the definite shift in atmosphere. So she's weak? Maish asked hopefully. Hell no, Max huffed, like the idea was the dumbest thing he'd ever heard. His outburst took the others back, and several gauntlets turned on him instantly. The man put his hands up, though his face shifted into a scowl. What's the point of a weak queen? You're going to be sorry you called her weak. She didn't like you from the beginning. What do you mean by that? Maish flailed. All women love me. I can feel what she feels, Maish, Max snorted, dropping his hands onto his hips. The hive has a very deep connection. It's been getting weaker since I turned back. Damien's voice was low and gravelly, filled with barely contained rage as he asked, if she can see through you, does that mean she knows the layout of the city? Max visibly shrunk under the question. What I've seen of it, he confirmed shakily. And the floors are all glass, so... And you didn't think that might have been worth sharing? The soldier hissed, vibrating with the effort not to jump across the table and strangle the man. You wouldn't have let me stay, Max told him simply. Can we shelve this for now? Silas interrupted. We have bigger problems. Damien gruffly agreed, but Max didn't respond. The man had gone deathly still, his eyes blown wide and the color drained from his face. They thought it was a reaction to their commander until he started muttering. She's going to kill me, he breathed, barely above a whisper and terrified. They're here. What did you say? Dylan glanced over at the screens and shot to his feet so fast his chair clattered to the floor, startling everyone in the room. Holy shit! The delayed confusion was shattered when everyone scrambled out of the tower and to the edge of the hangar bay. Across the Feinbos, hundreds of Mevs coming straight for the city. Get everyone to the higher levels, Damien barked. We're under attack.